the sale of 10 acres at $5,675 per acre.
This is the 10 acres that adjoins.
Correct.
So that's welcome. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy I am welcome. Even though I'm a little bit late.
That's okay. We got Phyllis coming in the door here, so we'll pick on her in just a few minutes. Okay, Crawford, any update on Magnolia?
He engaged the landscape contractor to go in, and he's cleaned up the property, and they've trimmed all the low limbs up, and they've taken out dead trees, and they've worked on the outside a little bit, kind of getting it cleaned up. We came in, I had a meeting down here Friday where I took a guy in that does demo work, and so he's putting together a proposal. He wants to take all the flooring, the current flooring up, carpet and tile, and demo some of the interior walls and take out the rest of the kitchen area. So the guy's putting the contract together on moving forward with that. He's played phone tag with CenturyLink, from what he's told me, trying to go ahead and get his internet, determined on what he can get, expanded out there. He hasn't decided yet on the demo if he's going to drop the ceiling or take the ceiling out or leave the ceiling like it is. And he is waiting on a couple of his suppliers to commit to some square footages. And then he has an engineer on standby to do a site plan on some metal buildings for his suppliers that he would come back to MCDC and the County Commission about developing in the industrial park back behind the restaurant.
Okay.
So slowly but surely.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the August 31st start date
Is negatory. Okay.
Just
I've asked him about that a couple of times. He goes, well, I've been having a little more difficult time getting commitment out of some of my suppliers than anticipated. So, but we are having conversations, and he is making progress.
Good. Phyllis, welcome. I mean, you had such a long distance to travel.
It took so long, I am so sorry. Traffic jam.
I understand. And we also have Karen Pickles, who's our superintendent of the schools. Karen, welcome. We have been begging for someone from the school district to come and work with us on economic development because schools are extremely important. That's one of the 8 prongs of our economic development is education. So thank you for coming and participating. We expect you here every month.
No, I just kept another meeting out. I said, I'm sorry, I have this meeting, I have to get up and leave.
And for being late, you have to come and bring coffee and donuts. But welcome, glad that you're here. Okay, is no one from the city is here? Jerome is not here. Anybody aware of anything that was?
Can I just say?
Yes, ma'am.
That, I appreciate everybody that's participating in the Scarecrow decorations. It really highlights our little city. I've had lots of people from out of town talk about how neat it is that our communities come together.
Same here. I had an out-of-town visitor. She was very pleased with what she saw.
From my perspective, Jerome had told us that they had received a grant to pave Bay Street down to Miller.
Start at Dade.
Started
Ending up, I believe it starts at Dade Street there, 3rd block down, and then go down to Miller. That's the way I read it. Anybody read anything different than that?
That is a welcome. I've been on dirt roads that are smoother than That's strip right there. Mr. Anderson, anything from, Lee?
No, sir, not really. A little bit on Central Kitchen, but Crawford's already stole it. A little bit ahead of reports. So
I'm sorry.
other than that, it's quiet. We're in good shape.
I did tell him he needed to contact you about getting his water turned back on.
He might want to do that soon.
So,
Okay.
All right, then, Mr. Dean, who's representing Greenville? We got two folks here. What's going on in Greenville?
I think a lot about to happen. It looks better, looking good.
And what's about to happen?
Oh, well, we're gonna build senior citizen building to house the youth and to try to help get some of them off the streets and get them to be more productive than what they are. And, he's trying to get grants, that's what he's trying to do, because we agree builders not having room. That's what he's working on, but he's doing a great job, and he's working so hard. And you go down there, and he's very, very good. So I think we are waking up, we've been sleeping.
Yesterday, we had an opportunity to attend a groundbreaking, I superintendent was there, for the new lift to do with sewage system at the school, the lift station. And we're happy about that. It was a good turnout, a lot of representation from different entities in the county and the state. So we're moving, the giant is waking up in Greenville.
Cheryl and I went to the groundbreaking yesterday.
Yes, you did, sorry about that, you were there.
And we sat on the back row
Uh,
in the sunshine. So we made a major faux pas because it got a lot hotter than we anticipated during the ceremony.
Are you gonna talk about this factor?
I can, yes, sir.
You wanna do that
Well,
when you get to your point, or?
yeah.
Okay. This will circle around back to Greenville, so, okay.
This part of the lift station on the sewage system
How that elevator is.
down right across the street from the elementary school. Push it all back out.
And they've been working on it for years.
Yeah, out at the Twin Oaks School out there, they're gonna start, building a mattress factory to teach those kids.
That's on, he's gonna give us a full report on that.
A baby report. No. He's got a lot of ideas out there, so we'll cover that one.
All righty, under new business, discussion of web maintenance agreement with Marketing Alliance.
So I presented at our last meeting that the web development group has a maintenance update proposal that I submitted at the last meeting, and we were just going to kind of discuss it. It's roughly $100, I guess $125 a month, roughly. It's $1,250 a year. They do all the updates, make any changes, keep everything up to date on it. I think we had been doing, Cheryl, in the previous group, weren't they charging a maintenance updated fee too, or we'd submit them updates and everything that they needed?
Yeah, the updates and changes to the actual site were just on an as-needed basis. The flat fee for hosting was $40 a month.
Okay, which is the same thing. So, but this is, we had talked about it. There were some changes along that we need to keep updated, maintained, and for a couple $100 a month, I had recommended that we look at doing this. So, but it's at the discussion of the board whether they want to approve the contract and keep it, maintained and up to date.
Will somebody
everybody here have to still send the information?
Yes,
to
sir,
them?
we'll send them, we tell them what we want, but they do all the changes and make all the updates and things, you know, keep the maps up to date and things like that, so. It actually comes out $1,250 annually, so that's $105 a month.
Well, I know I went online to try to find out if this meeting was actually going to take place today. No.
So, they usually, Shirley, don't y'all usually post that on the county's website? You know?
No.
Okay, I went there.
Because we have MCDC's website.
Okay.
Is that, just curiosity, is that the same company that has done the new websites for the county and Greenville and Madison and all that, or different company?
Different.
I think it's a different company. This group specializes in economic development websites.
We pay them every month or once a year?
We haven't been paying them, that's why I've got them to make a few changes, but they finally said, hey guys, we got a program that does this. They're just showing yearly maintenance and hosting. I would imagine we just pay it annually if it comes. But I can ask if you'd rather pay it monthly.
Yeah.
How much activity we getting?
Some, I don't have the defined numbers on it, but I mean, some, other than not posting the meetings and updates and things like that. The last thing we updated it on was the Stallmeyer press release on news and activity, but we've got some news and activity coming up, so we're gonna need to start posting more stuff when some of these projects start coming through.
Can they, is that part of it, that they can provide the analytics of the site for us, maybe before every meeting, every quarter?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Just add that they'll send you.
Ask about the analytics.
Yeah, before every meeting we have. And that way we can kind of see what activity we're getting, what people are looking at, things like that.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to approve the contract. Is it just 1 year at a time?
Yes, sir.
At a cost of $1,250 a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
Is this everything Google Map?
No, that's a different discussion, so.
It's new build? No, it's different.
It's through them, but it's different. And I got an update on that too. I like to keep them separate, because that's gonna muddy the water on the discussion.
Yes.
Because that didn't make any sense to
How
me
much
at first.
change did we have in the last year, what we've done up until now?
We've made, we probably just made 3 or 4 updates along and along. We've gone in and updated the sites and buildings database a couple of times. We've gone in and updated the information for when Stallmeyer had the press release. So I would tell you just, 4 or 5 times we go in. I usually go in once every month or 2 and look and see if anything needs to be updated or adjusted.
Would it not be useful to just do that when we need to update? If we have to do it for a specific month, or would they allow that?
I didn't ask them on, historically, I've just said, hey guys, will you please? And that's when, after I'd done that for 3 or 4 times, they said, hey, we do have annual contracts on this. So, I can ask them if they'll do it on a per need basis.
It just seems like $1,250 is a lot for 3 or 4.
It probably is for 3 or 4. I mean, I agree, it probably is. And if you look at it as an annual thing, then yeah. But if they come back and they might just come up with a rate of, whatever to just do stuff randomly. So I can go back and ask about that if you'd like.
Does that include the hosting though for the site too? As part of that 105?
Yeah, that 1,250 does include the hosting, so that was 450. 400, 450.
$40 a month, you said?
That was the previous company, not this company.
Well, she said 40 a month,
But that was for JSS.
And they didn't do squat.
180.
Well, that was just to host it. That
it was
was-
450, it was 450 was the annual.
Got 135, 180, and another 90.
Because they've been like multiple.
Right. So that's JSS, so here's, there was 450 was the annual hosting, so you take 450 off of that, and that's 800 for the updating and maintenance. So you're right, I forgot that included the hosting.
Anything that's not that hard, you have, they should be able to give you your rights to it, and editing is not that hard.
Okay.
We do ours,
Okay.
so it's,
Okay.
you should have access to the dashboard.
That's, I've got access to the dashboard, I've had somebody do that, so I've had them make some changes.
$100, and if you're only doing it in just once a month,
Okay,
so.
okay.
Speaking from our district, and I'm watching our budgets, that's just a lot we have to pay.
If I could just also point out, I have familiarity with a business that recently established a website, and the hosting is through Wix, and it was less than $200 a year, and all kinds of updates can be made by an administrator of the business, and it was very inexpensive. If y'all want to spend $1,250, you go right ahead. But WIX.
Yeah, if it's only an annual update, that's pretty good.
Just rescind the motion.
Well,
No, we don't have to.
need more detail on what they're
Well, I mean, they allow for the updates and then the 450, so I forgot about the hosting was part of that, so that means the updates are 800 annually to maintain it and update it. But based on what Ms. Johnson's saying, we go back and find out, can we just do the updates, or we do have access to the dashboard, so if somebody knows how to make the updates, we can get you access to the dashboard and just do it from that way.
well, and I just have a comment really. There are two ways to look at it. I do think we need to find out the per need basis, if they'll do sort of a case by case basis. But at the same time, if they don't, there is value in us being better as a council on updating that information. If people are going to our site regularly and the information is always the same, they're going to stop coming back. So if we have to pay that, if we do decide as a council that we're going to pay that, we need to make sure we're getting our money's worth by updating the content regularly, adding the meeting, meeting calendar on there, meeting minutes, any of that kind of stuff that we want to make information available, and really circulating that stuff through, whether it's, just sharing newspaper articles that are relevant to what we have going on, or linking them back and things like that, so that people are still, coming to our site. So if we do decide to pay that, I've worked on a lot of websites before, and with web development people, it seems high, but it is a reasonable rate for what we'd be getting. I do think that, but I do think we need to make sure we're getting the value out of it by being more hands-on with the site and making sure the information that we want is out there. But I do think, based on other projects that I've worked on, that is a reasonable amount for what we're getting back. The support and the hosting and the support if the site goes down, support for the Google Map issue, which I know you're going to talk about in a few minutes, but all that kind of stuff is what you're getting, is those hours of detail and expertise that I don't know that we have unless Edward does.
If you're looking for me to do the website, you're barking up the wrong tree. One of the problems here is that we're all volunteers.
Right.
So if somebody wants to step up and volunteer to take this on as a project, raise your hand. If not, then we're going to have to pay somebody to do it.
Could we also look at other options, the one that you talked about? Just explore everything there, and then we'll have more information on
on which to make a good solid decision.
And I think that's what Edward's saying, is if we wanted to go with something like Wix, then one of us would have to say, we'll take it over. That we will handle all the content, all the requirements of our funding for the website, all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, I can do updates and things like that, but the support of it, would I be available to maintain it all the time? You have to take all of that stuff into consideration. And then if that's what we want to do, then that's fine. It's just what we're getting for that amount of money is also manpower and expertise.
I didn't see anybody just, their hands just shot up. So, if somebody's willing, we'll.
How hard would it be to link it to the county's website? Since it's part of, put a link on the county's website that has MCDC, you put that link and it goes to everything MCDC.
So
I think there is a link on the county website that goes over to.
But it's two different companies, so it's two different.
I mean, there's the link.
I don't have access.
We're linked to the Chamber's website and a number of other websites, but somebody's got to drive the train here, so either we pay somebody or we get a volunteer to come in and step up and do it.
Is there no one that works for the county that can do that? That is capable of doing that?
Well, I'm sure there is, but
We're only having 3 or 4 changes. You know, it seems like somebody could do that within the county.
If the information is sent out,
Thank you, Renee.
that is provided.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said too. I mean, the simple updates, there are several of us, I think, that can do it. You know, if you and I both had access to it, we could do the simple updates. But when the website crashes in the middle of the night, or when we're pitching out a big project or something, that's what I'm referring to, is those bigger events, things like that. The simple updates, yes, anyone can do, and I think either way we should have access to it, because we could get on there and update something in a minute, and versus having to, you know, tell someone else. But the back side of it, the stuff you don't see unless you're trying to use the site, all the links are down, all the links are dead. Would we be able to fix all of that kind of stuff? That's what I'm talking about. It's the real technical side of a website that you don't think about until it doesn't work anymore.
Can we not try it with her for a while and see what happens?
Hopefully the website host would provide a little bit of assistance.
Right.
Or at least call them up for help. I hope they would do that much.
are you game? Okay.
So how much is just the hosting? Do we know that?
$450.
$450 just.
We've
the
already
hosting.
done that, that's taken care of.
Right, and then we could do the content.
Right.
And you have access already, and you could give both
I
of
can
us.
get access, I
You
don't,
can
I got it for the guy, the IT guy at the NFDDP, and he made a few updates and things for me,
Mhm.
so.
So I can clarify, we paid them $450 March 29th.
Right,
Is that
for the annual hosting,
Is that for a calendar year or
Yes.
for,
calendar year.
that invoice for $1250 would have done what?
Well, see, that was dated 4/18 too,
Oh, I see, I got you.
so.
And so what does it involve with the maintenance?
Updates, maintaining, I'm not an IT guy, I can't answer that.
You're
Can I
not
see
thinking-
that?
In the same vein, since that one's kind of sitting out there now, I emailed out some information also from the web group that Google has updated their policy on their active maps. And so they are now, it was kind of confusing when I initially read through everything, but Google is allowing you a $200 credit each month for active maps, which we have on the website. And the $200 credit is assuming every click on the website at a penny a piece, so that's 2,000 clicks. But they require you to have a credit card on file if it goes over the $200 credit or roughly the 2,000 clicks. So we needed to decide also on the website, do we want to put a credit card on file if for any chance? And again, I talked to the hosting group, and they said the chances of us ever going over 2,000 clicks a month would be incredibly rare on the maps, not on just the site, but on the map itself. But if you go to the website now, when you pull up the map and you look at the sites and building database, Google's got a block that comes up and says maps not loading properly or something like that, because they're waiting on us to put a credit card on file if we want to do that.
I make a motion we'll authorize Crawford to give me this credit card number.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
I'll second it.
I hate having my credit card on file, so. So it's 20,000 clicks.
Yes, but my calculator.
Yeah.
I'm doing my decimal point right.
So I think the chances of that ever happening are going to be incredibly slim. So I divided wrong. Rick said when he divided, he got 20,000. I got 2,000. Ed, you're a banker. So he doesn't do the math. So is that something that we want to see about putting a credit card on file to make Google happy, or do we want to take the maps section off of that?
20,000 clicks?
Well, they're allowing you, so Google is offering $200 a month credit at roughly so they're saying 100 uses of a dynamic map is $1. So that's a penny per use on the dynamic map.
500 uses for static maps.
Static maps even more than that. So ours is a dynamic map that I think from what they told me, and that's the way Google identifies it. So at a penny a piece, that's 20,000 clicks a month on a map.
Wow.
So the chances of that happening for us are incredibly remote, but Google is still requiring a credit card to be on file, and once your credit card's on file, then they give you a key number, and then you provide the key number back to the hosting group, and they've got it on file, and Google's got it on file, so that the map goes active.
What they're saying too is even if you're on the map, every time you zoom in or out or pan or move over, that's a separate
click
each time.
At a penny a piece. But you're still talking about 20,000. So sorry, my math's wrong. I was thinking 2,000, 20,000 a month before you get to $200.
So if Gene is awake at 3 o'clock in the morning,
and he goes crazy on the website,
and he gets over there and he wants to map Madison County, every time he moves that thing over, that's a penny.
but he'd have to move it over a bunch for 20,000.
That put me to sleep when I got that.
Back to sleep.
Yeah.
So right now, if you pull the web page up, you pull the map up, then you get an icon from Google. The map's kind of grayed out, and Google has an overlay over it.
So it's useless without the credit card on file.
Well, they're probably turn it off and just put it on there.
Right. Well, it just pops up and says this page cannot load Google Maps correctly. And it says, do you want the website? And if you go to that link, then they're going to say, hey, put a credit card number in. We give you a key, and then once you got the key, then you can load the map correctly. Revenue. Google revenue.
But can't you go to the property appraiser's website
or
Well,
Google Maps itself.
If you know what you're looking for, yeah, but see, our site comes up and it identifies the available industrial sites that we've identified here. And so then you click on that and then you get the details of each site. Whereas if you go to the property appraiser site, you gotta know either who owns it or where the map parcel is or what you're specifically looking for. So the idea is to try to make it more.
Sounds like we don't have much of a choice unless you just wanna put a fixed photograph on the state of Florida map showing where Madison is.
Well, what we're doing is like a sites and buildings database part of it. So it shows exactly where the sites are that we're marketing as industrial.
And if you click on that little icon there, it's gonna bring up the information that's been identified.
On that site.
On that site.
Sounds like we don't have much choice but to give it a shot and see how the clicks go.
So the question is,
It's kind of necessary.
who's got a credit card and how do we want to do that?
Have a motion on the floor.
I'd like to think.
Yeah, thank you, amen.
Well, what credit card does the MCDC people use now?
We don't.
We don't.
Ed,
What?
can you send the next gift?
MCCB
card for this?
credit card.
Yes, we could.
Does the county have any kind of credit card that they use? I mean, this is essentially a county function.
It's listed
The
on the
county,
county as one of their
the
functions.
county per
they
se,
do,
no, but we use the clerk's office.
Yeah.
Does the clerk have a credit card?
The clerk does, yes.
Let's see,
Let's talk to him about Tim about it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Tim.
All right, let's see if, I'm kind of getting the idea here that this is something we need to do.
Well, the
You
person
do something,
they're
you
using
need to
this
take it off the
site, some of these
website or
sites
fund
that
it
they right, are using it, they need to have that information available to them.
I don't think we have much of a choice. We need to figure out how we wanna do it.
So, my thing is if Billy would agree to put a credit card on it, then if by chance, there's an overage and he gets a charge on it, then come back to MCDC and ask to be reimbursed.
Well,
It's a pass-through.
You can put a maximum limit on a card too,
That's the
couldn't you?
community.
You don't have to tell Google that.
do I?
I said, he says no, do we do a card for maximum community?
You can guarantee that. We'll work that out. And the simplest thing to do is if Billy's got a credit card, this is county business. Okay? So, can we check with him today? All right, entertain a motion to move forward, subject to our getting a credit card from some source.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. I trust Google about as far as I can throw them. That's okay.
Alright, going back to this marketing alliance contract. So, breaking everything apart in this offer, we're looking at, they're offering the $1,250, we already paid $450 just for hosting, so we're looking at an $800 difference. Of that content update, as far as what we were talking about, being able to change, just the basic material, there's only 6 hours included in that. Only 6 hours, which for them is a lot because they're a lot quicker at it than some of us would be about getting on there. They know where everything is and how it works. The majority of what we would be paying for includes things like uptime monitoring, which means they will be alerted if our site crashes and they will be able to fix it without any, they may notify Crawford that happened, but we wouldn't really be involved in that process. User assistance, if a site selector or someone from the community is on the site and they can't find a tab or a tab isn't working or a link isn't working, they would email the help desk of the website and the people would help them with that and repair whatever issues the person was experiencing. And the access to website programmers, which are the people who can change the functionality of the site, layout of the content, and things like that. Software updates, which would include issues like this with the Google Maps. They would be able to offer recommendations for how we're going to change it, which is what Crawford was just talking about. And then the regular updates to the CMS, which is the content management service, which is what we would use to update the content more easier for the basic updater people. So that's really what you're paying for. We're only paying for 6 hours of content updating. So we're really paying for this other sort of technical support of the site. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Not really as much of the 6 hours of content updates is included. We would have that to fall back on, but that's not the bulk of what the money is for, based on this letter.
What say you?
And we can still look at other options. I was just breaking out what all of this means for everybody to kind of understand what we're looking at.
Right, this has been going on since April. Okay. There's probably 10,000 website developers out there. How many of y'all want to look at?
Well, we just had the site rebuilt completely last year. So I don't know if we need to look at a new developer, so to speak.
Well, somebody's gonna do this.
Now they're gonna take the 450 off the 1250, is that what you're saying?
No, that's just our we already pay $450.
Right.
So the 8,
Yeah,
that's
probably
just
would.
the difference.
Yeah.
Because this is a package, maintenance and hosting. So we already pay $450 for hosting. So really we're only looking at an $800 increase of what we already pay. And it also includes all of our domain registration, hosting, labor, tax, postage, shipping, all of that kind of stuff to maintain our domain name and all of that.
But you're already 6 months into that contract.
Because we've already paid 450 of that 1250, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we paid the hosting earlier in the year.
Yeah, we have to pay that or if the site would be taken down.
Yeah, we paid it back in March, and I told them to hold off on the support contract part.
Because my concern was that 1250 in addition to the 450 we've already paid.
No, sir.
We're looking at an $800 difference to get all of those things that I was just explaining, plus content update, and then we will also get access so that members of the council can update stuff as we need to. Designated members, not just
When does our hosting part that we've already paid for, when does it expire?
March, April.
Next March, end of next March.
I make a motion that we maintain our current status and allow the 2 people who volunteered to make changes periodically until contract renews in March, and then we can make a decision at that point, evaluate how that's worked, and see if we want to go with the full maintenance or if we want to maintain it ourselves going forward.
Okay. There's a motion, is there a second?
I say.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carried. Okay.
Oh, I opposed, I'm sorry. I was thinking, because I can speak for myself, I would be happy to do content updates. If an article or someone's picture or whatever, I can do that in no time. This other stuff, I don't have the skill set to do.